from Stratified here. So wanted to give you guys an update on our 2018 WRX. We've had this car, it's unbelievable. It's in its third year of ownership, and I was looking through the videos and the information that we released, and we haven't done all that much on this car. However, progress has of course been going on. So let's go over some of the parts and some of the things that we've done to it. First of all, on the intake side, we have a tried and true Cobb intake. So this is a very popular item. We see it on a lot of our customer cars, and it performs very well. A couple of the things that you want to be careful with is the filter placement that's covered in the instructions quite well. Make sure that obviously your mass airflow sensor is the harness is out of the way, not rubbing on anything. And then finally, you got to make sure you run the correct tune for it. So it is a larger diameter pipe than stock, so you either need a custom tune, and Cobb does offer their OTS tunes specifically for their intake. Of course, I always recommend a custom tune for many more benefits, such as tuning for your specific parts, not just this one, your fuel, and so on. Continuing on the intake side, we've got a Process West intercooler here. I like the idea on this car to have a top mount versus having a front mount. No, it doesn't cool as well. As you can see, the surface area and the space limitations here are such, but keeping it in that location kept the piping shorter. It also prevented things from coming in and hitting it. We've been in quite a bit of snow with this car and so forth, so keeping that there and reducing the piping seemed like a wise choice for that component. Also upgrades on the intake side of things. We have a TurboSmart bypass valve, and it is recirculating, and I recommend that for mass airflow based cars you keep the bypass valves recirculating. I know they don't make as much noise. This one does make quite a bit of noise, and you could hear it, but the reason why you want to recirculate them is that you don't want to lose metered air, so air that has been counted by the mass airflow sensor, and then you're just blowing it off, which causes a rich condition. Finally, on the intake side, we have a 3-port solenoid. The car comes with a 2-port bleed style boost control solenoid. We changed that to a 3-port for a more accurate, more precise boost control, and that's all tucked away underneath here. And moving to this other side of the engine bay, where we've recently had an install of, and this is the Cobb Flex Fuel kit. Now, Cobb has done a really great job with having very seamless integration of fueling on the vehicle. So what that means is that you can tune for E85, you can tune for pump gas without E85, and the software, when tuned correctly, does a really seamless integration of the calibration and getting both of those fuels to work really seamlessly. You just pump something in the tank, doesn't matter what your mix is, as long as your tune is set up correctly, then you will not have to really worry about the car and the tune handling it and adjusting for your particular ethanol level. So their plug and play kit here is just that, plug and play. It comes off right off the feed from the tank. There is a Continental sensor here, and then it goes right to the high pressure side, the high pressure pump, and it's got a plug and play harness. This one goes to the rear O2 for power. You've got a TGV connection here that basically you still get the TGV signal from the other motor for its position, but you can hijack this one and get ethanol content. So we haven't quite buttoned this up, but seeing how we haven't done a video on this car, why not do one and just cover this as well. On the exhaust side of the car, we'll get this up in the air and we'll show you what's under there, but it's, everyone knows what a J-pipe and a catback looks. We've got a Mishimoto J-pipe on this car, or downpipe, cat downpipe, and then we have a Cobb catback. The suspension, we're also going to get underneath the car, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. We also have some top mounts here to give us some extra caster and camber that we're about to install. So we'll get those on the car, we'll lift it up in the air, we'll show you guys what's going on underneath. Last last but not least, you probably have seen our videos. We do have a limited slip differential in the back of this car. We get a lot of inquiries about it. It's a short track. It's out of Japan. It is a drop-in differential in the WRX, so you don't have to switch axles. You don't have to go to the STI transmission. You can check out some of our other videos of launching in the snow and so on. It is effective at preventing one wheel overspinning when you lose traction in the rear. So yeah, let's get this car up in the air and we'll see what's underneath. Now we're underneath our 2018 WRX, and here we're going to see a few more details. So start at the front here. You're going to have to excuse any sort of shakiness, as this is a handheld here right underneath the car. So this is the Mishimoto J-pipe, and really the only difficulty that we've had this was the stripped studs on the turbocharger. Very common issue, although the car was almost brand new when we put this on. And going back here, we have the Cobb catback, and this car has definitely seen its fair share of mountain drives and snow drives, and we've coated it every year with the LPS stuff. So we apply a coat on all visible metal underneath it. But as you know, Subaru does not have the best in terms of corrosion protection. So you can see that there's a little bit of corrosion here, and my LED light really highlights that. But we've tried to keep it as clean as possible. So like I said, J-pipe here, just on the heat shield here. Obviously the bypass valve in the front of the motor, and the 3-port solenoid I talked about already. And underneath here, the transmission, we've got a parent transmission mount. We've had this for a number of years. Really nice product that removes some slot from the drivetrain. And we've got you can see in there, let me move this slide a little bit better. So we've got a parent pitch stop mount right underneath the intercooler. Now, really nice to work on these cars, because they're just very accessible. So one of the things that Subaru has done in this car and the BRZ is that they've made it so accessible to get to parts. Here's the limited slip differential. Can you tell the difference? Well, no, looks like a stock differential, but we dropped in limited slip, and you can see the video on that. We have it posted from a number of years ago. So upgraded the bushings right in here for the differential, upgraded the bushings for the subframe to make it a lot more solid, and give us a little bit more feedback. It did add a little bit of NVH, but nothing we couldn't live with, and I think most enthusiasts will be okay with a little bit of gear whine if you want the more solid rear end. Now, this is a white line sway bar that we've added to the back here. Otherwise, the suspension for now has mainly remained stock shocks and springs, and that's because we wanted the ground clearance that the stock suspension offered, and actually the shocks and the dampening is pretty good on this car. One thing that we've just done right now is that we've installed some white line strut mounts there to add some camber and caster, and of course you can max the factory settings using this eccentric bolt up there, and dial that in as much as possible. So this is good for the twisties and having the front end bite a little bit more, which of course is something that all Subarus could use a little bit more of. And then finally, a little modification up here is that Subarus don't have the best brakes out of the factory, so that's a known fact. But you know what? The rotors are quite thick, and then the twin piston calipers are not too bad for a stock car, especially in this price range. They just need a bit more cooling. So this is all closed off from the factory. We just cut it up a little bit to allow some more air to come in and out from around the brakes. Upgrading your pads and your rotors also can go a long way. And obviously your brake fluid if you do a lot of track work. We're going to be doing some time attack this summer. I'm not sure if this is one of the vehicles that we'll be entering for that, because it's warm and it's on pavement, and we're waiting for ice racing as well this winter. But we'll keep you guys posted with more videos. But this is how the WRX looks underneath, and quite a capable car, especially
in the loose stuff. Lots of fun as well.